Hey, what's up? Today we're going to be taking a look at Bolt Action Second Edition by Warlord Games, and one of the main reasons I picked this up was because of Osprey Games' involvement in the publication of these books. So I figured they're probably worth taking a look at. And indeed, I was not let down. The material inside is wonderfully done. It's well composed and everything you'd expect from a high quality rule book such as the one down below in front of you. So you're going to need some certain things to play this, and the main thing is the main rule book, and the current edition is the second edition. Now, they've promised to do just not this thing, and I hope they don't go along these marketing lines of doing constant reprint and edition updates because I can tell you I won't buy them. I'm buying the second edition, and out of all the other books, they also said that the only one that they were going to do a second edition print for was the German Army List. So I did buy the second edition of that one as well. But all of the other publications involved with this game are the first edition, and supposedly they won't be updated. So there is a pretty big following of this game here in the States. I don't know about the overseas across the on the other side of the pond there, but over on the States here, I know that there's a lot of tournament play and there's some leagues for this game, and it's pretty popular. So I did get involved a little bit and I played in the standard 28 millimeter format of this game. And I did that for quite a long time, and I never really enjoyed doing that. The one main thing that kept me in this game was the quality of the books and all the information therein, and I enjoyed the rules quite a bit. The A couple of the gentlemen who started Warlord Games, I believe, I don't know the whole story, but Jervis Johnson and one other gentleman I can't remember, they came from Games Workshop. Now I grew up; those were the first games that I ever played were Warhammer and reading White Dwarf magazine. So, I'm very familiar with their work, but I don't know the politics and the story behind any separation or whatever. I don't know anything behind that story because I was took a long extended hiatus from gaming for quite a while actually, and during that time frame, and I've never really gone back to Games Workshop, and it's been decades, a long time. I mean, I browse through whenever I go into a game shop. I look at some of their new games and stuff, but it's just, I mean, I'm reminded every time more and more of the reason why I stopped even bothering with Games Workshop. But anyway, I enjoy the lore behind those games and the themes. I'm not ragging on those games at all. Trust me, I'm not. I love them. But down below in front of us, like I said, bolt action, 28 millimeter. Never was really having fun with it. I enjoyed the community and the people I met because a lot of interesting and wide variety of people play this game. A lot of people with military backgrounds, veterans, and military enthusiasts. So it's a good crowd to hang out with. But eventually, when I was moving down to smaller scales from other games, I also started looking into this game. And other people have already done this, so I'm not the entrepreneur here, but I've started scaling down everything to 15 millimeter in my gaming of Ancients, and I already gamed Flames of War a little bit here and there, not too much, but so the foundation was already set to transfer over to 15 millimeter. So I eventually ended up doing that and trying this game in 15 millimeter, and it became a whole different game. The scales made a whole lot more sense. The ranges on the weapons were more, it just fit much, much better. I wasn't shooting, a max range of 6 inches. I can't remember with a rifle. With a 28 millimeter, it's horrible. I mean, it was like a pistol. So um, but in defense of the 28 millimeter scale, and one of the few defenses that you can make with that is that it's meant to probably speed up things, get you guys in the action quicker, and give the guys who revolve around the bonsai charges and the human waves and stuff like that, more of a chance to get in close, so they're just not getting peppered by deadly firepower the entire way to the front lines. So there's tournament aspect to the rules, and a lot of people have debated, whether or not they're good or not. But in my opinion, 15 millimeter is the way to go with this. So that, and from now on, that's how I'll be doing it. I eBayed my 28 millimeter stuff quite a ways back. So, and now I'm just now getting around to having some stuff finally painted up and almost ready to go to show you guys some bolt action in 15 millimeter. And another good advantage of that is I have tank battles in that big stack there. And tank battles is going to allow us to do tank battles the real way that bolt action should be allowed to do it, which is in on a large battlefield with a lot of armor on there with some minor infantry support. So we're really going to be able to utilize tank battles to the full extent and its full potential that it really should be. And in real life, in armored warfare, you wouldn't see more than one take with your eyes at any given time. Usually, I mean, armored warfare is a chess match of positioning and concealment and striking at the exact right time. So, and the distances that the armaments included, they were massive. Some of the tank aces were knocking out enemy tanks at 2 miles on a regular basis. So that gives you the scope. You're not really going to be able to do unless you're going out in the street and setting your tanks down in the street. You're not going to really be able to do the true scale of armored warfare uh, regardless. So no matter how big of a table you have, but we're going to do it pretty good, and it's still going to be a heck of a lot more fun than stacking on giant tiger tanks that take up a quarter of the board, and you're not even maneuvering with them. You're just shooting. You're just right. It's an immobile turret. It's a defensive turret, is what it is when you're playing that way. And I was really turned off by it, but I really wanted to make this game work because, like I said, I want to support the guys who, branched out. I got some other games. I got Hail Caesar. I love that game, and I game a lot of Ancients. Hail Caesar is terrific, and there's a lot of other people that game that in different scales as well, besides 28 millimeter. And there is Test of Honor, which is brand new, and that takes place it's a Japanese setting, and I'm going to do an unboxing and review on that here very soon. But bolt action, like I said, I really wanted to like it, love it, and play it. So I was really struggling and really grasping at straws to find a way to do so. And I think 15 millimeters is the answer. But you are, like I said, you are going to need some dice, the the bolt action edition dice to play it. And those are order dice. And that's how the activation system works is, you put these in a bag or a cup, and then you draw one, and whoever's color it is who can issue an order to a unit, and you're going to get one of those die for each unit you have on the field. So if you got more units than your opponent, you're going to have more die in the bag. Excuse me, and therefore your chances of activation are going to be greater. But inside the rulebook itself, we're not going to go through all these books, but this is mainly just me telling you about Combat Commander, my experience with it, and what I'm getting ready to do with it here in the future. So, you have a whole lot of just beautiful pages of information here. I mean, it is just amazing. I love these books. Just even if you don't game, if you have no interest in wargaming, but if you study war, you just for variety to your collection of books, you can't go wrong with these. I mean, even if I didn't play this game, if I decide after 15 millimeter testing is all said and done with, after a year or so of gameplay, I decided I don't want to do it, I'm still not going to pursue this, then, I would not even sell these books. That's how wonderfully done they are. And there's not many of my games that I could say that about, that if I didn't like, I wouldn't sell them. I'm not really a game collector, I'm a gamer. So value, unpunched copies really mean nothing to me. And, but these, I will say, are very well done. So even if you don't like the games, like I said, if I don't like the games, I'm not going to sell these. They're worth that value on that alone as just a historical text to have at the house. And somebody who doesn't want to sit down and read a history book full of text and a couple, real black and white pictures mixed in there every once in a while, this is an excellent book. My son really enjoys reading through this stuff. And just as I did, I enjoyed reading through the Warhammer stuff as I was a kid. And I know two separate companies, but I'm just talking about rambling on here. But um, the rules are pretty much the same sort of type of rules. I won't go too in depth into them. We'll do further reviews as we play through this game. But um, it's like roll to hit with modifiers, roll to damage, stuff like that. So the next book we have there is going to be Tank War, and I don't believe there's any additional like specific types of combat arms between any of the other modules or books or expansions. That's the only one that really expands the different types of battles. There's other campaign books that set you on the path of going through certain historical campaigns and such, and those are going to involve armor and everything else. But this one specifically tells you any theater how to run just an armored battle, or a mechanized and armored battle. So that's pretty good stuff. And then we're going to be doing a tremendous amount of those tank wars. Like I said, we got stuff just all over this place. I was telling you in my Epic Fox Battleground update #1, I was showing you some of the painting that I was down, and the American Shermans are done. Moving on to the Russians. I was telling you about the KV1s, KV2s. They did finally come, so we're going to get those based up, painted up, and then the Russians are going to be done, and we're still working on the Germans. But we did get some new Germans. We got some plastic soldier. These are 15mm scale Tiger 1 tanks, and there's 4 of them in there. And then we have a Ferdinand or Slashik. I believe this can be assembled as an elephant as well. So and I got way more off screen, but I'm going to save that for Epic Fox Battleground update #2 here very shortly. I'm going to put that up in a day or two. And I just got a bunch of stuff, and I'm looking forward to playing this game because it's been a long time since I've been able to play it. And the 15mm scale, like I said, I've done it, and it just brought this game to life for me again, and I'm really happy about that. So, you know, they might not be too happy with me playing and not buying their 28mm figures, but you know what? I'm still trying to sell their books, even if you don't game. Like I said, I'd still recommend these books as a historical resource to have, and just the entertainment that they provide. If you like to read, and I enjoy reading, I'd much rather read than watch television or and other things. I enjoy watching documentaries too, but um, then you're gonna anyway campaign book over on here this side. This is the Duel in the Sun campaign, and there's also other campaigns. There's um, the East Front campaigns. There's the Italian campaigns. I think there's the Pacific campaign, which I'm really gonna do. The only reason I haven't gotten the Pacific campaign yet because I haven't made any big moves on any large companies of infantry yet. So a lot of the stuff that I've been prepping and painting has been armor, and I'm going to do that for Tank Wars. I do have a couple of the mechanized units. I got some the DAK infantry that I'm painting up, and with some desert half tracks. So there's going to be some infantry support with those armor, but a lot of the Tank Wars we're going to do is going to revolve around the North African campaign against the British 8th Army. We got all sorts of, we got 8th Army Infantry, and we got a whole lot of British tanks to go in there. We got Matilda 2s. We got all sorts of Matilda 2s and other British vehicles. We'll get into those. I got to stay on track here. That's for update #2. But back to this, the campaigns. There's several different versions of the campaigns. There's Battle of the Bulge campaign. To tell you the truth, I can't remember all the campaigns that there are. So, excuse me. And then you're going to have the different army books, and I'm going to move those other books to the side for a second. But the army books are going to have your full details, and I was a little confused because nothing really specified what was what when I was shopping around for these books. And at first, I thought the Duel in the Sun was going to have the information for the certain armor units that I needed to have, to have a African or Italian campaign, and it didn't have it. So then I thought, well, then the tank battles would. Well, the tank battles was the first one I bought, but it didn't have it in there. So then I went on to the campaign, scenario, the books, and I thought they would have it, and it didn't. So I ended up getting the army books, and of course, I should have known better. That's where it was at. So those are like the old, the Games Workshop codexes. They're done in the same manner. And that's why I'm saying earlier, I said it much earlier that, I hope their marketing strategy remains what they promised to be, which is what they're not going to do is release edition after edition and updates and redo all these books. So if they can stay on track and stick to that plan, then, they got me, but I won't be purchasing any future updates. I would, if you are going to purchase books from the get-go, I would purchase the second edition rulebook because that is the one that they did say that they were updating, and I don't blame them doing a second update of a main rulebook. Okay, I'm cool with that. I'd even be okay with them doing multiple versions of the rulebook and updating that over the years, as long as they weren't, forcing you to buy new campaign books and army books along with those. Okay, as long as they're not doing that. If they wanted to do an expansion, armies of Great Britain, in there if they felt that there was stuff that they needed to throw in there or whatnot, if they ever added a core set of rules or whatever, make it years and years down the road. But prove yourself first. And I'm supporting you guys regardless of, the whatever else is going on. So just take the time and do it right and be right with the stuff you guys are doing. And like I said, I'm sure you guys will have and keep and maintain a lot of supporters and grow your fan base from there. So anyway, the Armies of Great Britain, these books, like I said, they're just wonderfully done, and you're going to have information on heroes, all sorts of just beautiful terrain and painted miniatures. Geez, I wish I could paint that well. That's another reason why I revolve around, so much terrain and good looking terrain is because it kind of hides the quality of my paint jobs. Uh, but at least I paint them. That's all I gotta say, man. At least I paint them. I take the time to put the effort in to paint them, and so it's not dragging down the look at everything else or any other gamers that have painted forces with nice scenery and stuff. You're not embarrassed or ashamed to play with them. So that's another reason the 15 millimeter is just much cheaper, much easier to paint. But these army books, they're going to have sections of armored cars, heavy tanks, medium tanks, infantry, weapons, support weapons, all sorts of stuff. And every page is just packed with neat little text or paintings straight out of Osprey or just amazing stuff. So very high quality stuff. Here is the Armies of the United States book right there. And all the army compositions or codexes, army books, are done in the same manner. So you can see here they're just beautifully done. And for painting examples, it shows there's a lot of other paint companies that you can buy the standard Royal Standard paint mixes, the olive drab army, certain army browns, all the Dungle Growls, yellows, grays, whatever else, all the historical colors, you can get them appropriately shaded and toned and straight from like Vallejo paints or Ammo by MiG, stuff like that. So it comes with, before you in other areas of this type of gaming, you'd have to buy painting guides and stuff like that. But when it comes to World War II, pretty much everything's well documented, and there's a lot of resources and other places you can go to get the correct paint patterns and camouflage schemes for the era or the theater that you're playing in and stuff like that. But you can see here, there's just a wonderful amount of armor on here, and that's one of the things that's sad, I think, about playing 28 millimeter is that you can only have a few of those beautiful pieces on the board at any one time, or else it just doesn't make sense or doesn't work right. And that's just, I've said it before already, I'll say it again, but here's the Soviet Union Army book, and it's going to be the same thing, but it has all the special rules for fielding a Russian army as well. So, and then this is the second edition German Army book, and this is the other book, like I told you before, that they said where they were going to do a second edition for, and that was it. So here it is, and it has all the same high quality as all the other ones. Just some beautiful pictures and beautiful troop descriptions. I love reading about the individual heroes of the war. The scenery in these is absolutely fantastic, right down to the backdrops behind. And so, like I said, even for just the historical text and research value alone, I'd recommend those books. So we're going to look into those probably as we play through this more individually. I'll be showing you those books in depth and doing a further review and exploring the 15 millimeter side of bolt action together. I don't know how much flack I'm going to draw from the bolt action community. Maybe a lot. It might be a lot. Seriously, I don't know. We'll see. But I don't care because I'm not doing this to impress anybody, honestly. So, but you guys take care of yourselves, and I will see you then. Later.